So if you use the gym template, open it up, you'll see a set of slides, and basically this is Google Slide and how to use that as a planning tool. So the stick figures here have been imported, and these imports come from anywhere on the web, or you can make them yourself, and these become planning tools. So for example, if you look down here, here's an example of a gym at Central Middle, had 3 badminton courts, and these were a wall space that could be used. It was a stage, and then here's our figures that you can put on and basically create setups or realign, resize, anything you like, and you can put it anywhere, and you can also copy them and paste them into the screen, so you have multiple versions of the same stick figure. So that's really good for managing your class setup. Here's an example, Central, the outside area, outdoor spaces that students were using, and they were planning how they're going to put the students on those different spaces. So as you go down, for instance, here is a badminton court. Any gym you go into, you'll see badminton courts, but it's fixed. And what happened is this has been made into a background. So for example, here's one that's moving. I can move it around, I can resize that, I can make multiple versions of that court, and I can use that to create gyms. So if I've made this example here, I can take this court and I can actually export it, come at the top here and go download, and just download it as a JPEG. And so that particular slide now gets saved onto my desktop. All right, and now if I create a new slide, I can bring in that particular one, choose an image, the one I've just saved. I can browse, and so go downloads folder, there's the gym. I can basically drag and drop that in, and then on my screen, and it's become fixed. And any image that I've downloaded, for instance, to that gym, I can format it just by doing my cropping, so I can take out what I don't need, and then I can upload that, and that will become my background to my particular page. So if I did that again, I can change the background. I choose an image, I go into my computer, I got it in my downloads folder, there's my school gym, open, and now it uploads that image, and now you can see it's resized to the size of the slide. And I can do that with multiple ones, so I've got several here that I can move around to create my background. And if I wanted to, I can then put a square around the outside, like that. That can become the walls around my gym, and I want to make it transparent, so I make it transparent. And now this is the outside, and this is my courts inside, and I can resize that slightly. And if I want to make doors, then simply take a shape. I can then block out here, the door over here, and just make that white so it doesn't show up, and now you've got a gap. And so that allows you to build, you can make this thicker, right? So it allows you to create the outline, and if you don't want the wording here, you just delete that. And now you've got a beginnings of a gym that you're using at the school, and you can actually get it to set up quite nicely to represent what it is that you'll be teaching on. And when you've created it, you can then export that as something now to plan on, and you can send things to the back here so that it gets out of the way, and then I can move these around like that. And if I'm not sure, I want to get them aligned, I go shift, and then you can actually click on this, and it says align at the top, and then it just lines them up. And so you can now build your gyms. Once you've created a gym, I've got lots of samples here. Here's a 4 court gym. Here's when you have 2 side by side, or side by side this way, bigger area to plan in. And when you've got these, you can go back to your stick figures at the top here, and I can take any of these I like, and I can just copy them. And then when I go to my gym setup, I can just paste those into the gym. So if I take, for instance, this one, I can paste it in. So now I can put my little stick figure, move it around to the area of the court that I wanted to put it in. And that can actually become my organization as I do my layup, and I've got so many kids on each court. So that gives you a way of building. Here are lots of different samples of setup tools you can use to draw. And obviously at the top here, like they've done at Central, you can use the trees to give you a sense of the planning and where you're going to put things as using larger spaces. So that becomes your planning tool. Whenever you've created a particular plan, so if I wanted to use this one, for instance, I can now take that and download it as a JPEG, and then that JPEG I can then use in any lesson plan I'm creating. So if I have a Word file, that will go straight into the Word file. Here it is. And if I've got a lesson plan that I want to put it in, I just basically open that lesson plan either in Google Drive or in Word, and then just, for instance here, when I was doing a tennis lesson, I've done the same thing. I've just dropped the image in, so that one I just showed you, I could drop that in here and it would appear on the page. I can resize that, and that becomes part of my plan, either in my Word document or in my Google Docs if you're sharing with your peer. Either way works really well. So that just gives you a quick run through of how to use the Google Slide planning sheet, and this becomes a very useful tool to make your plans visual and cover lots of organization without having to try to explain it. And it's very good then to look at when you're teaching, because you immediately think where you're going to put things, how you're going to set them up.